for citizenship, and that's something that we need to take seriously. And it's probably a cause that the warfighter community should take up. You know, I mean, if we're going to stand up for our interpreters, then we need to stand up for guys that serve this country and get deported.
Well, the question is, you know, they serve the country, shouldn't they? When they get the little, what is it? The ID card's green. As soon as they get that green card, they should be citizens right then. I mean, if they go through training
I mean, come on. You give them a military ID card. You give them a DD-214. It should be, here's your DD-214 and your citizenship. It's not fucking hard to figure out.
Exactly.
Our green card in the military, that was used as our passport. Why can't it be used as their citizenship? You know?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of people that come across the border and they don't do the right thing, and they do a lot of wrong things, and they stay here. You know, and nobody's getting rid of them. And if they get across the border, then they just, you know, come back north and sneak back north again. And that's, you know, these guys, they're trying to do it right. They realize that there's a glitch in the system. They realize maybe, you know, they could have done things better. They're trying to do it right, you know. And as I look at them, they're fellow war fighters. We should be helping them out. That's just all there is to it. You know, my guy on my very own team, he was a naturalized citizen, but Nacho, he was born in Tijuana, you know, one of the greatest Americans I ever know, knows more about American history than most people I know. And it's no different, you know, and I'm glad that he did get naturalized and he's not under any kind of threat for that. Now, does this say that I believe in giving people amnesty that come across our country illegally? No, I don't believe in that. No. But if you are a resident alien and join the military, you know, you had enough wherewithal to become a resident alien to join the military. Why shouldn't the next step be, if you're a resident alien, join the military, you now become a citizen? I mean, these guys, there's only two people in America that understand what freedom is all about. That's a veteran and an immigrant, a real immigrant, not these knuckleheads that are coming from the Middle East.
Don't get us started there.
My thing is, too, like, if you're going to come over to this country, you know, wait, what?
I said, don't get us started there. We'll start sacrificing goats and shit.
Well, what I was saying was, you know, if you're going to come to this country, you know, from another country, you know, in my company, we have a guy from Russia, and he's a really nice guy. And if you're going to come from, you know, another country and come to America and serve, I do strongly believe that you deserve the citizenship. If you're going to go to Iraq or Afghanistan and fight, you know, ISIS or the Taliban, you know, and serve American military, you deserve an American citizenship.
And wouldn't it be nice if every one of these guys that's come across the border went through the same background check that the guys do who join the military? They don't.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So where can we find a safer immigrant to be an American citizen than one that joined the military? It's ridiculous. I mean, the risk is so little and the gain is so much because they respect this country.
Well, something like 75% of the job occupations in the military, you have to have a security background check anyway.
Yeah, security clearance. Yeah.
Right.
Short of a KP is probably the only thing that probably doesn't need a security background check. I mean, honestly,
or cook.
If they can pass a security clearance, there is no reason that they shouldn't be a citizen.
Yeah, this is one of those times where, you know, the law is the law and we realize what the law is. And if there's enough of us that believe this law is not appropriate, you know, for our time and our age and this time in our history, then there needs to be enough of us that stand up and say, okay, this is a law we need to change. You know, you can't stop following a law because you disagree with it, because we're a nation of laws. However, if you go so far as to not believe in something, you think it needs to be changed, then we need to change it. We need to do positive things and actually change the law so we're in compliance with our own beliefs.
No, go through the proper channels to change the law instead of trying to force laws, as a lot of people, I don't want to point at the left, but a lot of people on the left try to bully and intimidate ways to get into make. I don't even know how to word it. I don't know how to word what they're doing because it's so un-American. You know, they want to stand
Well,
up against
there's people out
oppression.
there that say they shouldn't have to follow the laws because they don't agree with them, and
Yeah.
you know it's not the case. You know that you can't go to court and say, well, I don't agree with that law, so I didn't follow it. It's not like you're going to get a case dismissed. You know, you have to follow the rules. You have to follow the laws. And if there is a law out there that you don't agree with, well, there's a process that we have in the United States to change those laws. And I believe in that process. And I think we all do because we were willing to stand up and take an oath to defend it. But, you know, this sitting back and saying, you know, I know we're kind of having some bleed over here because we're all trying to not talk about what we're talking about. But yeah, we're talking about those sniveling, whining, fucking malcontents that don't do shit for this fucking country, but then piss and moan because they don't like a fucking law and they want to change everything because their feelings got hurt. Okay. Well, that's a trend that needs to stop. And it's the warfighter community that needs to stand up and say, no, we are a nation of laws. And if you don't like it, you need to change the law. But we need to do that by example. If we disagree with this law and there's enough of us that do, then we need to get off our lily white asses or whatever color your ass is and change that law. And it can change. You know, I've been a part of that process and helped change laws here and in other places as part of the process. And it's really not all that difficult. But I think it's easier now than ever because there's so many people sitting on social media bitching that they're not actually working the process. And so you can almost walk right into your state legislature, find someone to sponsor a bill and get that done. It's a lot easier now, I would guess, than it was 15, 20 years ago when the only thing people could do to satisfy the problems and the feelings that they had was to go to their legislators. Well, now they're not. They just sit on Facebook or social media, Twitter, whatever. They piss and moan, they bitch, they talk to their friends, and they feel better. But they haven't changed anything. In the past, the way to feel better was to actually change something. So we need to get back to that. We need to kind of get our minds right on what needs to be done and reestablish our priorities.
Well, Boone, this comes into another subject that Blood brought up. He brought the subject up about these veterans that are going out to protest this Keystone Pipeline. What is your take on that? My take on the whole Keystone Pipeline protest thing is they're uneducated about what they're protesting. They think
there's a good argument for that. There's a lot of people that you know what the thing about it is the warfighter community, we love a good fight, you know, and we love to support the underdog. You know, that's why a lot of people went out there to Bundy, you know, and that's the Bundy Ranch thing. And I would guess that's why there's a lot of people involved in the pipeline issue. But, you know, also to look at the issues and you know, try not to be so emotional about it, but be more logical about it and make your decision from that base. It may or may not be happening. I haven't followed a lot of the stuff that's happening with this pipeline. I do understand that there are several pipelines already there, and nobody's had a problem with that. I do understand this current pipeline is not even on their land, but they're worried about some sort of water contamination. I don't know it as well as other people do, but I can say that, you know, the beautiful thing about our community is we're always willing to stand up for who we perceive as the underdog. That's what we do. You know, we don't like bullies. And so if they've been putting out a lot of media that presents this as people that are downtrodden, people that are being bullied, there's going to be warfighters that show up. And we see that over and over again, whether it be Occupy veterans, whether it be the pipeline, whether it be Bundy Ranch. It's just a nature of who we are. You know, the warfighter community likes to stick up for the underdog, and they don't mind fighting. They don't mind, you know, plant your feet, put your fucking hands up, let's get it on. And so, you know, it's what we're susceptible to.
Well, it's sad that we have a lot of our own warfighters that will not study the issues that they want. Like you said, they want to fight for the underdog, but they won't go look at the issues and learn the facts for themselves before they jump out there and want to fight. Just like what happened in Oregon with the reserve, you know, were they in the right for taking up for those people? Yes, but were they taking a completely wrong approach to the situation? Yes. You know, the situation they were trying to resolve should have been resolved with the government, not with a reserve out a bird sanctuary. You know?
Right. Yeah, it got, and I was out there at Bundy. I know Ammon Bundy. You know, I mean, I don't know him like we drank beers together or nothing, but you know, we had some good conversation, and he's got my phone number. I got his, texting back and forth. So it's not like I'm completely removed from that situation. These were just good. These were really good folk. You know, the Bundys. They really were. I don't know how to say it. Just people that believed in what they believed, so on and so forth. But if I had to be critical of anything, I would say I think fame kind of got to him a little bit after what happened at Bundy, and they thought they could push that further. I will tell you something about fame. It's absolutely not fun, but it is addictive. And that's why people, when they get a little bit of it, they can't give it up. They got to find another way to get relevant, to stay relevant, to get back in that limelight. And I would probably be I would probably be incorrect with my own integrity if I said I didn't think that was a little bit about what that was about. You know, it was, maybe got a little bit out of hand there.
Well, you know, a lot of them ended up in jail. Most of them have been cleared now, supposedly. A lot of them ended up in jail. Somebody died in the process, and it all comes back to leadership. You know, they're
you're right. Somebody. You're right. I mean, you gotta know what you're fighting for, and it's good to fight for your principles. I mean, I think there's not enough of that in America today. Absolutely. You know, when I was growing up, men used to do things for one reason: the fucking principle of it, and I think that's beautiful. I don't think there's anything wrong with that at all. But we got to make sure that we really know what principle we're sticking up for when we do it, because when all of a sudden somebody gets killed, whether it's your fault or somebody else's fault, there's still people out there without a father, without a husband, without, you know, death. You don't come back from death. And so it's one thing to say, hey, I'm willing to fight to the death for this situation. Well, you know what? You might get your fucking chance. So make sure that's really what you mean.
Yeah, and make sure that the leadership you have in position is strong leadership. And I'm not going to say all civilians make bad leaders, but when you have a warfighter community following a civilian leadership, there's a little bit of an issue I take with that. You know, it's kind of like the strategy might be a little bit off, and I don't know. I don't know, man. You know me. I'm partial to my community. I think we're fucking awesome. That's all there is to it. Well, I think there should be military leadership for a military community, not civilian leadership for. Just like Mattis getting Secretary of Defense, I think that's great. You know.
Hell yeah.
Because we need a military leader as a defense leader. We don't need some guy that's been pushing paper behind a desk for the last 25 years to tell our guys in the field what needs to happen. You know, we need somebody that's been there and knows what the struggles are.
I think that was a good move. I think that was a very good appointment. By far, that was the most popular appointment in reference to our community. You know, it's weird. Our community kind of knows stuff that the rest of the country don't know. You know, it's like if I say Mad Dog Mattis, I was just talking to my writer last night. He's in the UK, and he's like, "Oh, you got an appointment for the General Mattis." And I was telling him a little about it. He's like, "Yeah, we don't know anything about that in the UK." Well, most people in the United States don't know anything about his popularity and why he's popular. He's become a folk hero to a lot of the community. And I know there's some stuff that came out recently about him making some questionable decisions that got some people killed, and that it's realistic. You know, if those things happen, you got to bring them forward. You got to deal with them. You can't sit on them. You got to look at them honestly. Otherwise, it's just going to bite you in the ass later. And so I hope that does get addressed. But he was a very popular leader, and I think that was a smart move on the part of Trump, because he basically gave the warfighter community a leader they don't mind following. And it's been a long fucking time since we've had a leader we don't mind following.
Now the question is who? I heard something about who was he going to put over VA?
There was talk about him putting Sarah Palin over the VA.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that is 100% wise. I don't know of anything that she's done as far as healthcare.
Well, here's where I can go the pros and cons on that. Okay, let's look at the whole situation from a 30,000 foot view. One, she's Yeah, she's the former governor of Alaska. She's held some key positions. She's also a mom. She's a mom of a combat veteran, and we can all discuss, how much of a combat veteran he is, but let's leave that alone. She's still a mom of a combat veteran. I don't get into the "you're more combat than me" bullshit, but she's a mom, and she's also the mother-in-law of Dakota Meyer, who has a lot of contacts and knows the community. He's good with that stuff. So, when you're looking at this, I look at it from the perspective of, okay, and again, this is an appointment. This is a political appointment. I don't think she's necessarily going to be running day operations. She's there to kind of help move things along with Congress and Senate and make sure the administrative staff of the VA is doing their stuff and deconflicting things, making changes, so on and so forth. And I think just having a Republican House and Senate and president is going to make a lot of things move faster for the VA. I know Bob McDonnell got hemmed up on that. Shinseki got hemmed up on that for the same reason, all political stuff because of the fact there's unions in the VA. And so any changes that they wanted to make administratively, they couldn't because the Dems were going to kill it because it's a union issue. And that's what happened. Okay. And Shinseki got completely backdoored. He didn't even know, from what I heard, he didn't even know he was going to get DX'd until he walked in his office and his resignation letter was sitting on his desk. So, that's how that went down.
What do you think about,
so
what do you
what's
think
that?
about, what do you think about the Donald Trump talking about wanting to give veterans sort of like Medicare, like they give low income families and things like that? What do you think about that?
I don't know his whole program, so I don't want to comment it and say pro or con on it because I don't know the whole program. I don't want to speak without knowing what it is. But I can tell you what I have thought about and where I think he's going with it. And let's kick it around. Let's have the discussion. This is your show, but let's have the discussion. What if, because the biggest problem with the VA, yes, you can get in to see your primary care doctor, but then if you need some sort of specialty care, that's when things start getting really slow. Okay. It takes years, it's crazy. And also, so what if we took the VA and we said, okay, the VA is now an administrative function. You will go in there, you'll see your specialty care, you'll see your primary care doctor when there's an issue. And then the primary care doctor will farm you out to a civilian doctor, but maintain your records in the VA as a doctor. So you still have them available for VBA for your claims and things like that. I don't see that as such a bad idea because we're keeping everything centralized. We're still keeping stuff ready to get help. But now the talent pool for doctors becomes exponentially bigger. It's not just, one orthopedic guy on floor 2. It's as many orthopedic people as many doctors do orthopedics in your town. So you can get help. You can get in there. You can get out fast. And also the other reason I would like that is because I think it's a good idea when we have to educate the civilian populace on what we're all about and real issues. I go to a civilian neurologist for my Parkinson's and things like that. And routinely when we're sitting there, half the appointment is me educating her about what she can see coming in, from the community. We have those conversations. And if we lock ourselves in a bubble all the time, we're in a bubble and people don't know anything about it. And then we sit around and bitch and say people don't understand. So if we want people to understand, we got to train them. We got to teach them. Well, and one way to do that is through the medical field.
The only issue I see with that now an issue I've had with the VA I've been in the VA since 2002. I got out in 2002. I got out at 60% disabled. And the biggest issue I have seen with VA is non-diagnosis. They don't diagnose. They don't want to diagnose. They want to. No.
They just keep kicking you back and forth, back all around. Yeah, it gets nuts. But I walk around with Parkinson's for years. I got 3 appointments with my civilian neurologist, and she diagnosed me.
Well, the thing is if you're going to your primary doctor and they're failing to diagnose anything, then they can't send you to that civilian doctor, that specialty doctor, and that could also be an issue. And it seems like they do it to save money also, so they save from treating. So if we kick them around and we don't treat their issues and we just medicate them, then they're going to die eventually, and don't have to pay them no more. We don't have to take care of them anymore, and they're just off the books. We just save that money, you know. And that's what it feels like sometimes. I'm not saying that's what's happening, but that's what it feels like a lot of times.
I agree. You know, they just keep denying everything and passing it off until you get sick of it. And typically, I think it's realistic to say, you know, a warfighter looking for help will try 1, maybe 2 times, but then it's like, okay, fuck me, fuck you. You know, I'll just suck it up, deal with it, and then all kinds of bad things happen. You know, then that's where addictions come in, and too much alcoholism comes in because they're not dealing with their issues, and it needs to be resolved. No. And bottom line is we need our issues resolved faster and more efficiently and documented well, so they can get some sort of compensation on it. So whatever that takes to get handled quicker, efficiently, and well documented, I'm all for it. I don't mind farming things out to the civilian world when it comes to doing medical procedures. I've gotten very good care. But when it comes to taking care of our claims, if you want to start building up the VA, you know what, build up the VBA so we can get claims handled, you know, faster than 2 years. That's ridiculous.
I've been waiting over 3 years for one. Not a claim, just to have my check put back in my name. I've been waiting for over 3 years. And
yeah, see, that's ridiculous. That's where a lot of the money. That's where you can't farm it out. That's where you can't outsource is the VBA. But where you can outsource is to other medical doctors. And I think at the end of the day, if you can't get in, if you've got a scheduled surgery and you can't get a surgery in 2 months, you know what? There's a problem. You need to be someplace else, because if you're not getting that problem fixed, it's probably compounding other problems, and then you can't catch up. That's what I see a lot of guys go through. That's what I've been through. And so, no, we need to handle things more efficiently, faster, and just get it done. And that's just the bottom line. Get it done.
Well,
one thing I have an issue with.
Go ahead, Blood.
Oh, so one thing I have an issue with is with the whole VA thing is veterans not getting the proper treatment. Like you were, you know, some instances, like I think it was a couple weeks ago or a couple days ago, there was a vet who unfortunately ended his life because he could not get the treatment, I guess, for cancer.
Happens all the time.
Yeah, it's really sad how, you know, for me, I'm really strong with 22 a day. You know, I want to end. You know, I'm one of the ones who wants to eliminate it. It just really saddens me how veterans can't get the proper treatment they can. You know. So. Yeah,
I couldn't agree with you more. And you know, I don't like the idea that because the VA, because let's look at the cycle, because here's how it really goes. Guy goes in and says, I got a problem with my shoulder. And the doc goes, okay, well, let's try this, and here's some anti-inflammatories, and we'll try and get you into the specialist as fast as we can. Well, after a while, then they get the pain meds and they get everything else, and then the guy's like, I still have problems with my shoulder. Well, now they're not sleeping. Now you got PTSD, you got TBI, you're not sleeping, you got bigger problems. So you're not sleeping. And then you go in there and you get a little agitated, and they're like, well, why don't you try some, here's some Xanax, and here's some Ambien for nighttime, because I understand your shoulder hurts, you can't sleep. So here's some Ambien. Okay, well, now you got them on Ambien. And then here's a little bit of Xanax, just because, you know, deal with the anxiety of things during the daytime, because you're in there, you obviously got problems. And if you're dealing with stress of, you know, PTSD and things like that, and you're in chronic pain, it's just going to amplify the PTSD, and you're going to be on psych meds. Now, what was the original issue? You needed to have your shoulder looked at and fixed. And that's what I'm talking about. And the way they deal with that is first they go to the pain meds, then they go to the psych meds. And then when you're on the psych meds, you start losing the ability to make your own decisions. And then you stay there forever. And we need to get guys off the psych meds, just get them off the psych meds.
I have literally been on every one of those medications. I'm still on a couple. I've slacked myself off. I won't let them dope me up the way they did at one time. I'll take very minimum pain medication and a depression medication, and that's it.
I was on pain meds for over a decade. I mean, I was definitely addicted. I mean, we're talking 90 milligrams of morphine a day, you know, taking 5 and 6 Oxycontin, 10 milligram Oxycontin. That was every day. You know, that's just getting by. And most of it, I'd be lying if I didn't say it was just to keep up with the fact that I was so addicted to the stuff. And a year ago, I found CBDs. and CBD's completely got me off pain meds.
Well,
and it was an easy kick, very easy kick.
I'm in the Bible Belt, so we don't have that yet. You know, we can't have medical out here yet.
I'm still working on it, man. I'm still working on it, and I'm getting ready to have a meeting with an organization this month. Actually, next week, I'm going to go out to Colorado and have a meeting with an organization that has the ability to mail CBD nationwide. They've got the THC level down far enough that it's still, from what I understand, it still opens up all the receptors. I'm going to try it myself to make sure it's good, but it still opens up all the receptors, but it doesn't have THC levels high enough that it becomes illegal to give anywhere. So where are you at? What state are you in?
Alabama.
Okay, well, see, I can mail this to you in Alabama. And so I'm constantly looking for these options to put in warfighters' hands so they don't have to take the zombie dope, so they don't have to be on the psych meds, on the pain meds, because it's just too hard to get off of it, and it's too hard it impedes things, you know. It just really, really does. And I'm not saying cannabis is the end all be all of everything. There's an education process with cannabis. There absolutely is, and it's not a one call, you know, one call does it all, fix it. But it is helpful, it's helpful to enough people that they don't need the other stuff. I'm just serious. Over a decade, probably closer to two, if I really thought about it, with some intermittent times in there that I didn't. But for the most part, you know, come January, it's been a year since I've had any narcotics. And that's a big. Anybody who's been out there knows what I'm talking about. It's a big deal.
Yeah.
And it's straight up CBD. CBD has made that difference for me, and I think other people should have that option. Whether they take it or not is up to them, but I think the option should be there.
Well,
and see, the thing about psych meds is, like, over the long run, they can affect somebody a lot more in the bad way than in the good way. Because, like you were saying, the more meds you give somebody, they might, you know, get new meds and keep building up. Because myself, I'm on medication too. I'm on Wellbutrin and Trazodone for sleep. You know, it's all right, but, you know, I don't want to keep taking it my whole life. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I want to have another option, like you were saying, because that medication you're saying that sounds really interesting, actually. And is it out for, like, is it in, like, the crawl phase right now?
Oh no, I'm talking like a 1,200 acre facility, which I'm going to go visit. Okay. You know, it's a big deal, and I don't want to put any more out about the information other than what I've already put out, because it's not been for public consumption yet. I just want people to know that there are options out there, and there are options out there that I'm looking into, and hopefully I'll be able to bring that to the warfighter community and be able to vouch for it, and it's legit, and the guys that can get help from it, they should.
Exactly.
They absolutely should. And those who don't want it or who aren't ready for it, that's fine too. But when they do become ready for it, if they do, well, I want it to be available. And so I'm going to work my ass off doing that. If it has something, if I got to get legislation passed, I'll do that. You know, it's not a problem. It's about just knowing how to take the fight to them. Yeah. And if it's anything else, I mean, this last year, you know, the video that I had made, that the pro medical marijuana video that I had made was used to lobby in 4 different states to change the laws, and in every one of those states the law changed. So we can do this. And even in the South, even in the Bible Belt, you know, there's one thing about people in the Bible Belt that they really, really care about, not just the Bible and their religion, but they really care about states' rights. You know, I mean, states' rights is a big deal, and I think it should be a big deal. And if you got more than 50% of the people in a state that say, hey, we want medical marijuana, or we want recreational marijuana, well, then there's a lot of people out there in the Bible Belt that are like, you know what? The federal government shouldn't keep this from me. Well, it's a states' rights issue. And it is a states' rights issue. Whether you want it or not, based upon your belief, is your personal belief. But don't take away the rights of the states.
Exactly. Well,
exactly.
I'm gonna tell you honestly, for 10 years after I got out of the service, that's all I did. That's all I did was smoke marijuana. I wasn't even on as much as blood pressure medication for 10 years. And as soon as I went to the doctor, I went to the VA, I said, you know, I need something more for pain, because I can't afford to buy illegal marijuana and risk going to jail all the time. You know, I'm through with that.
Yeah, I understand. I completely understand. See, you went the opposite way than I did. See, I went on all the dope and went to cannabis, and things got better. But, you know, I was able to to deal with the laws around me that were afforded that. But you're like, okay, I can't do this anymore. I got to stop. They put you on the zombie dope, and it compounds your problems. So I cut my problems down. You increased your problems, and basically we just took the opposite route. So again, more anecdotal evidence that cannabis is good. It's positive. Cannabis, people don't get this. It is non-toxic to humans. It is non-toxic. It's safer than grapes. Do you understand? Safer than grapes. And I don't understand. When we look, I do these speeches and I talk about this stuff, and they say, well, there's not enough evidence. There's not enough medical evidence. It's real fucking simple to me. There's a flow chart. And on that flow chart, if you come down the flow chart and they say, okay, is it toxic? Well, then they have to figure out at what level is it toxic, because people are going to consume it. And then they do the research and find out what level it's toxic. And they say, okay, cannot take more than, 4 milligrams every 10 hours, so on and so forth. So to keep you safe. That's the whole purpose, to keep you safe. Well, if we continue to follow that flow chart, and the first part in that flow chart says non-toxic, study's fucking over.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, it's that simple. And I left Colorado, 5 years too soon. I was stationed at Carson, so I got out and I stayed out there about a year after I got out, and then I moved back to the southeast. And as soon as I got back out here, they legalized it, made it. Well,
you see the rap play they're doing now, right? The courts, they're saying that if you do have a medical marijuana card, they're trying to jack with everybody's Second Amendment issues, their Second Amendment rights. And by not allowing people to have their CCWs, and because of the federal form 4473, they consider cannabis an addictive substance. So if you're using cannabis, they're saying and you put yes on that question, they're saying they're not going to sell you firearms. Well, again, if you don't like the laws, you got to change them, and that's what we have to do. We have to change them. And I was not the guy who was standing up going, hey, we should all have recreational marijuana, smoke it up, whatever. That's not, I wasn't that guy. I honestly don't believe recreational marijuana is the most positive thing for the country. I don't. I think that, the Chinese lost 2,000 years of productivity to opium. And there's a lot of people in America that if you're not mature, and if you're using it for escapism, just like you would other things, no, it's not a positive thing. It's a bad thing. It's going to hurt productivity. But for people who need it, it's a positive thing. Well, here's the quandary they've put us in. I've been pushing for medical, and then the government comes back and the courts come back and they want to jack with us with our gun rights because it's medical. Well, first of all, how can you even ask me on a 4473 if it's medical? Is that a violation of HIPAA? So that's one issue we got to deal with.
Well, that's just like
the second
when you
issue.
go to the VA, they ask you, do you have any guns in your house? What is it their fucking business what I got in my house?
Yeah, it's a good point. That's a good point. But see, we can deconflict all these issues that the courts are having because the way that they're jacking with people is with their medical marijuana cards and with their CCWs. Well, okay, forget it. Okay, if you want to play games with me, well, now I'm going to push for recreational across the country. I was just pushing for medical, but now you want to play games with me. I'm going to push for recreational because that way I don't need 4 different pieces of legislation to deconflict the Second Amendment issues. If it's recreational, get it where you want it. Nobody knows about it. There's no record of it. And that helps guys be safe again. And so really right now, the way we're looking at safe access, it has to be recreational because the courts are playing games with Second Amendment issues.
Yeah. And
exactly.
I wouldn't say it's the courts. I think it goes back to political gains, honestly. I think it all goes.
Well, it's the courts that are trying to enforce these things. That's what I mean. Is it political? Yeah, it's political. It's big pharma. They make a lot of money. Like you said, you weren't even on blood pressure medication when you use cannabis. Right now the VA is like a $7 billion industry for drugs, and if guys could have access to cannabis and CBD, Big Pharma would lose a lot of money, and their lobbyists wouldn't be happy with that. And the people who make money off of their lobbyists would take a hit. And now here we go deeper again. What happens at the VA if guys don't need to go every week, every month, whatever, because they're actually being able to cope better because they're not on all the drugs and they can take care of themselves? What happens? Again, union jobs. They don't need as many people there. So people start losing jobs,
and
that becomes a problem. So we start going to cannabis. It affects unions and it affects big pharma. The two biggest things we have to fight, and that's why the political issue exists.
Well, you still got to fall back on the pulpwood industry too, because the pulpwood industry is what started the fight against marijuana. Because in a year, you can grow 3 fields of hemp in the same plot of land that you can grow 1 field of trees for 20 years.
I've heard the same thing, and yeah, if we're taking the discussion outside of how the VA and veterans are affected, absolutely within the country, there are other issues that, I mean, it's really enormous, but they really fucked up because they didn't have me as a guy that was going to attack them and go after them for recreational. But they fuck with, they're trying to fuck with our guns. And so now, okay, fine. You want to fuck with me? Fuck you. And now I'm just going to make it recreational across the country and get enough public support to make that happen. And then they're all screwed anyway. What are they going to do? What are they going to do?
Yeah. And I think if the issue was brought to the people across the country, it would be completely legalized. Completely.
People don't give a fuck. People don't give a fuck about weed.
Who cares what your neighbor's doing? Honestly, I don't give a fuck what my neighbor's doing. I don't care if they're smoking crack over there, as long as they're leaving me the fuck alone. If they're not coming in my yard, they're not fucking with me. I don't give a damn what they're doing.
I don't either, and I'm not going to have to worry about them passing out, dying in their front yard with cannabis, because again, it's a non-toxic substance to humans. Non-toxic. You cannot OD on it. You cannot. It is completely non-toxic. It's you can't build up a tolerance. Believe me, I'll tell you that one. But it's just not an issue, man. It's safer than grapes.
I don't really care if my neighbors pass out and die in their front yard either. Only time I complain is that they start stinking, and then
just stay out from underneath my car when you do it.
Somebody needs to throw some cat litter or something on top of them. But yeah, I think that's the biggest problem we have with this country right now is everybody wants to be everybody else's keeper, and nobody wants to just stay in their own fucking lane. Yeah,
everybody wants to tell everybody else what to do, and nobody takes responsibility for themselves. Exactly.
Stay in your own fucking lane and do what you do. Don't worry about what other people are doing. Don't if somebody wants to fucking fuck a chicken in their backyard, that's their business. And no, I don't fuck chickens. That's Blood's department there.
Whoa. I wondered where bone chicken came from.
I noticed the Louisiana, but still,
Well, I mean, they do some weird shit on Fort Pope. I mean,
we have alligators over here.
The mosquitoes are the size of fucking chickens.
You fucking alligator, I'll shake your goddamn hand. That's impressive.
Hey, there was a report some dude fucking captured an alligator in Florida and sodomized it for like a week or some shit.
What the fuck?
What the fuck are you smoking to rape an alligator?
Probably.
I don't know if I'm sickened or impressed. I really don't know.
Well, it's pretty impressive, but it makes you wonder what disease is coming next.
Fuck you, mate. I have STDs.
Hopefully we wear a condom. I don't know.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, it was made out of alligator skin.
Oh boys. Oh, boys. Crocked them.
But yeah, there was some other issues I was gonna bring up. Okay, we talked about the head of the VA. What do you think about Mitt Romney if Trump picks Mitt Romney as Secretary of State? What do you think about that?
I don't know. If he does, he's got a good reason for it. I think there could, without telling you what my picks would be, I think there are probably some better picks than Romney, and I'm not so sure why Romney. That one kind of sticks out. That gives me the why, But I don't know why. Secretary of State. I'll tell you the characteristics of a person I would be looking for Secretary of State. I would be looking for if we got Mattis as Secretary of Defense, he's the bad cop, right? I would be looking for the good cop for Secretary of State. And hey, let's face it, Romney looks like the good cop. So if you're going to play good cop, bad cop between Secretary of State and Secretary of Defense, because that's kind of the roles that they could easily fit into when it comes to dealing with other, let's just say disaffected countries. I don't think that's a bad idea. Is Romney the right good cop? I don't know, man. I don't know. But if he gets picked, I say we give him a chance.
Well, I thought for sure he was going to pick Ben Carson as the secretary, the one over healthcare, but he put him over HUD.
He didn't want it. He didn't want it. And you know what? I think it's good that he got HUD. And I'm pretty sure that obviously I think it's a racial issue, and I think that's probably where. I think you're probably going to see Ben Carson do some things as in that position with HUD that is going to be very proactive for a lot of our inner cities. And I think he's very popular and he's a caring guy. He was on my show, and really I had him on the show, and he was probably one of the most thoughtful people I've ever interviewed, ever. And I thought he was asleep most of the time. I didn't even think it was a very good interview. I thought it was going to be a bad interview. But when I listened to the playback, it sounded really good. And the reason it sounded good is because he thinks about every damn thing he says before he says it. He'll pause, he thinks about it, he analyzes it, and then he gives his answer. You saw with a lot of the politicians, they kind of they just want to keep the energy flowing. They're not really thinking about an in-depth answer. Ben Carson is a thinker. That guy thinks things through. He just did a really, I'm not saying everything he thinks through. He's got some opinions that I think are a little, I can't really get down with, but as far as him as a person, probably one of the most thoughtful people I've ever interviewed.
Well, everybody's going to have different opinions, and everybody's opinion should be respected. But
he might be, he's the right guy for the job. I mean, the fact that he didn't want to do anything in politics and he came back and he said, I'll do HUD. I think he's going to try and do some things that are unlike you've seen before. I do not think with this administration we are going to play the game of business as usual. And I think that's one thing we can guarantee. We are not going to be playing the business as usual game over the next 4 years.
I really hope not, because I've got a bad feeling if we keep going down that road of business as usual, of special interests that's been going on for the last, since the conception of
ever
the union,
Yeah.
Yeah,
and don't get me wrong. I don't have a problem with unions. I have a problem with unions when it starts impeding the progress that we as warfighters need to make. And you know what? I think they should take that upon themselves that responsibility and say, you know what, there is a problem here. The unions really need to start taking care of their own and policing their own a little bit better when it comes to standing in the way of progress. It's only going to help them. They got to do a little bit of PR on that. And I don't think it's a bad thing. And I think you're going to see Trump as a Republican president being pretty okay with the unions. I think he's going to throw them a line, and it'd be a good thing. So I had a conversation. I had a speech before the GOP in Nevada a couple weeks ago. It was a very short speech, but one of the things that I said was, okay, now you guys have everything you want. You have the House, you have the Senate, you have the president, you're going to get your Supreme Court justice. You have everything you want, but what are you going to do now? What are you going to do now? Because if you waste this and if you ignore the people that are protesting you, they're going to come. Don't ignore those people. Do not turn their back on them. And my feeling, the reason you don't want to turn your back on them is because they will come back and kick your ass in great numbers if you don't learn how to deal with those situations. We've got a generational issue happening in this country. And if we don't have the GOP reaching out and trying to resolve those and give them a voice and give them an ear to be heard, it's only going to go worse.
Well, that's
and the other thing that I discussed was that, I think this last general election got totally out of control. I think the polarization of this last election was insane. We took things to extremes to where, the same themes that we would use to invade other countries, which is good and evil. Those are the themes. We're good, they're evil. We have to do this. Otherwise, it's a life and death situation and we're going to die. Okay, that's the theme. That's what we do when we build public support to attack other countries. Well, we just used those same themes during a general election. And half of the electorate thought if Trump won, that they're going to die. And the other half thought if Hillary won, we're all going to die. And it got pushed so far to the extreme with this polarization. I don't know how we get back from that, because one of those two people had to win. And that meant the other half of the electorate is completely disenfranchised. And it's going to be that much harder to bring them into the unity of America. And we are the United States of America. We're not the people who do what the fuck ever and never get along America, though it seems that way. So I think when we take these general elections and we polarize them to the point of life and death, we polarize them to the point that we're creating a fight or flight syndrome in people's minds, and they don't understand these things because people don't. They just don't without being able to step back.
I'm pretty sure you can.
It's a bad thing, man. It is a bad thing.
I'm pretty sure you can understand this Facebook post. You've probably seen it. Everybody's seen it. If you support insert name here, please delete me from your friends list immediately, or I'm gonna delete you. Or one of what, people are not allowed to have differing opinions anymore.
I lost 8 Facebook friends that denied the election because I kept posting about Trump and everything, and they're like, "Oh, yeah, fuck you."
I saw this thing last night. This was crazy. This goes right with what you're talking about, and it was Occupy Democrats, and there was this lady, and she was sitting there, and she sounded pretty sensible at first, and then she was like, "Everybody who voted for Trump, do you realize you voted for the same candidate that the KKK did? And you have to live with that. The same candidate that this inference again on these Nazi themes of good and evil, so on and so forth, just totally out of control. Because obviously the rebuttal for that is, okay, everybody who voted for Hillary voted for the same candidate that the Black Panthers did. The same you could go down this road several times and it still washes out to, hey, listen, guys, it's one country. We got to get along. And
exactly.
And to continue to even post-election, to continue to polarize these things. I understand it. I know how it happens. But I'm going to keep my opinion the same, which is things went too far in this last election. Where do you take it from here? Because, I was seeing things like, Hillary's, it's just insane. I'm not a fan of the lady, believe me, but I don't believe all the crap that people said about her either. And as far as Donald Trump becoming president, trust me, there's not going to be cattle cars loaded up with rounding up, illegal aliens and shipping them out of the country. It's just not going to happen. Okay. It's not going to happen. I think there's going to be I think they're going to give away for visas. And I think people are going to have time to go get those visas. And those are work visas. It doesn't mean it's citizenship. It means they're visas. Okay. That's a difference. And then there has to be a process to get your citizenship. It is wrong what we've done with immigration in this country. It's practically slavery, because you have an invisible group of people in this country that work and then have no recourse for their legal actions if they are screwed over. You have people in this country that cannot excel past a certain level. There's a ceiling on their life, on their ability to gain, on their ability to be the American dream. That's wrong. It's wrong for Republicans and it's wrong for Democrats. Why do they do it? Because they don't want to give all these people the right to vote all at once, because if they did, you can't control how they're going to vote. Same reason they don't send out the absentee ballots to veterans or to warfighters when they're deployed, because it's too big of a guess and they want to control everything. It's wrong. If you want to help people that want to be immigrants in this country, let's help them. Let's help them get to this country. Let's do it realistically. Let's do it logically. Let's stop making people sneak across borders. It's wrong. I want immigrants here. You should want immigrants here, because immigrants appreciate freedom. It's a good thing.
I agree with you. I want immigrants here, but I want immigrants here legally. I want them here.
And I want immigrants here who want to be Americans. I don't want these shitbags from the Middle East who want who want to create us to make us into another Middle Eastern country. That's totally wrong. It shouldn't be accepted, and they should be outcast immediately. Those are the people you put on cattle cars and kick the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then with Sharia law, what was it called? Sharia law? Sharia law?
Sharia law, yeah.
Sharia law, yeah.
Where they stone your women and rape.
We have a constitution. We don't have Sharia law. We shouldn't have Sharia. It shouldn't even be entertained. It's ridiculous.
But there brings up another question. How do you vet individuals that may come from the Middle East? How do you vet them to know that you're not letting in a goat fucker?
Well, we already do it.
You know,
they already do it, but they're not going to do it at 10,000 at a time.
Well,
exactly.
You know, I mean, my buddy Johnny Walker, he's an interpreter from Iraq. You know, I mean, he's one of my best friends. He's Muslim. He's more American than most of the people I know. He was also stood up for Trump. And he said, you know, you got to stop these people coming across the border. You have no idea what you're getting into. Look at France. Look at Germany. Look at Denmark. Look at the problems they're having. Yeah. I mean, you want to see something that's going to create – I mean, there is a response for those things. And I'm just going to say that people get paranoid. People get scared, you know, and they have a response. And then all of a sudden the response they have, everybody says, is racially driven. No, it's not. It's just focused on people who are not of their same race, who are committing crimes and atrocities in their country, and they want them out. Exactly. There is not a problem with that. And if you look around the world right now, you look at Brexit, you look at the how they're voting in Germany now, how they're going to be voting in France now. And in the UK too. The people are standing up and saying, "Whoa, this is too much. No. This is way too much. No. You need to slow down. Slow your roll. You're not in charge of us. We just let you keep the keys every now and then."
Now, we run the Fuck ISIS page for a long time, for the last 2 years, Bud? And
yeah.
One of the biggest arguments we always got, if we said anything about Islam, here comes 30 people hollering about, you're racist, you're a bigot, because you said something bad about Islam. But even if these people are Islamic, they don't understand that we're not talking about them. We're talking about true Islamists. The true Islamists.
Well, exactly. And see, that's where the terminology. We all gotta get together and start a newsletter or something to help people understand their terminology. I got no problem with. I have no problem with Islam. I have no problem with Muslims. I have a problem with jihadists.
Yeah.
Jihadists. Yep. Okay, and if you look back at Germany, World War II, not every German was a Nazi. It's a fact. Not every German was a Nazi. Don't treat them like they were, and nobody would, because that would be ridiculous. Well, guess what? We can't treat every Muslim like they're a jihadist, okay, because that in turn is also ridiculous. But the question is, how do you know? And a lot of Americans don't know. They don't understand. And it does fall down on our government. Our government's job is to protect this country and protect the people of this country, not to let in our enemy. And they have. They want to let in a lot of people who intend to do us harm. Again, look at France. Look at Germany. It's not gone well. It has not gone. Look at Greece. My God, I had this lady on my show from Greece. It's an invasion. And it should not be allowed. It should not be allowed.
That's exactly what it is. A total invasion. And they have even said, these jihadists have even said, we're going to send people with the fleeing immigrants. We're gonna blend in with them, and we're gonna attack you that way. I mean, they're telling us their strategy.
We would do the same thing, wouldn't we? Wouldn't we do the same thing? We'd do the same thing. We'd Trojan horse that shit and fucking fuck people up. We'd do the same thing if we were in the same boat. Okay?
Do worse.
Why wouldn't they? It's a Trojan horse. It's a Trojan horse.
Yeah. But I mean, they're telling us what they're gonna do. They're sitting there telling us what they're going to do. And then we have the left sitting there saying, oh, we have to let all these Syrian refugees in. Well, look what they just said they're going to do. And you're just going to let, 100,000 of them in like it's nothing?
You know what? I think the time for sensibility is about to come back to America.
And that's what we need. That is 100% of what we need right there. More thought to the process instead of being PC and worrying about somebody's feelings. Worry about somebody's safety first. You know.
Again, what is the role of the United States government? To protect the people. That's their role. That's what they do. To make sure that to make sure the country is in accordance with fairness, with equality. That doesn't mean equality for the world. We are a country. We are not a globalized world entity.
And that's been
now, I have no problem helping out other people. Okay, I have no problem helping out other people, but I'm not going to help people that are trying to kill me. What the fuck sense does that make?
None.
Exactly.
And that's the problem. That's the problem we've had for the last 20 years. We want to be the world police. Well, longer than that. Ever since Vietnam, it's been.
World War II actually is when we got the tasking for it, but and it is a tasking. It's come straight from the IMF. I mean, it kind of has to be that way in a lot of ways, because if we can control these things in other countries, we really do have a much more stable country, and that secures the fiat currency, so on and so forth, blah, 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 blah. I go into this all day long. But it's okay to be the world police. I don't really have a problem with that. What I have a problem with is being the world's sanctuary for every asshole that wants to come to America. I don't think that's a good idea.
Well, I think there's a problem being the world police when you're not policing your own country first.
Yeah, if you take your eyes off your own country, yeah, I mean, let's police this shit first. Yeah, I see your point, and I agree.
We're not taking care of our borders. When we start taking care of our borders, then we can worry about somebody else's.
And again, we've got the whole world is speaking up and saying, hey, this globalization bullshit, it's got to stop. It's got to stop. I mean, look at the UK. The UK people are earning more money now in the UK since Brexit. The people are happier. Okay, because the UK was carrying people. A lot of people. They're carrying other countries. The EU, I don't even know what's going to happen with that. But and then we can get into the foreign policy issues if you wanted to. But sticking on veteran issues, as veterans, we do need to be leaders. And most of us that have been to the Middle East understand that there's a lot of good people over there, a lot of great people over there, and I have no problem helping them. But those are the people I want to help. And I want to help them. It's no problem helping them with their country so they can stay out of ours. There's also not a problem having immigrants. Again, the only two people in this country that understand truly what freedom is all about is an immigrant and a veteran. And so that helps us stay free. And I don't think that's a bad idea. But as far as, just carte blanche accepting people over here in the same way Germany and France did, it didn't work out well for them. So why the fuck would we make that mistake?
Saudi Arabia. Now I've seen reports on this. Again, if you're coming to me for your news, then you need to do fact checking. Supposedly, Saudi Arabia has a big enough tent city to house 1 million people, and they haven't took
and it's
a
empty.
Single refugee.
And it's empty.
Not one refugee.
Well, yeah, they're not gonna.
So,
well,
they need to take in their own people.
Exactly.
Well, they don't look at it like it's their own people.
Yeah, but why are we looking at
that's
it like
the thing.
There are people, And that's just like a lot of these people they want to take up for Hamas, and
yeah.
And to me, I put Hamas in the same category as any other jihadi, because they're standing behind women and children and throwing missiles into Israel.
Mm-hmm.
That's my view on it. Some people.
It's like ISIS. It's like ISIS. That ISIS uses children for shields all the time. I saw. I don't know if you all know that site. It's a video. You can see war videos. They're kind of like these like
DV vids, or is it Funker?
It's not Funker. It's I forgot what it's called. But it's pretty much like the Kurds or the Peshmerga make these videos and they post them up. And there's a video of and it really pissed me off. It was this ISIS convoy, and they stopped, I guess, because they're getting fired on, and they had these children that hopped out in front of them, and they were literally squatting behind the children as they were firing at the Peshmerga. I was like, really? That really pissed me off.
Yeah. Things are not the same in other countries as they should be, but it is that way. So what do we got next, man? Hit me with it.
Well, we can take a break. Give it a breather. Um, what? Pick us out some music for the break, there, Boone.
Oh, I know.
Go for it, man.
Well, let our guests pick out the music there,
I'm
bud.
just kidding.
Okay. Here's the song. "Light Up the Darkness" by Soldier Heart.
I was gonna say Painted Black.
You always say Painted Black.
I got to promote the
Always.
community, man. That's what I do.
Well, Top always gets pissed off when I say that because I love that song. Just Painted
It's a
Black.
good song. It is a good song, man. It's a good song.
But that's always his pick too. Always.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Post me up.
Well, we're gonna take a break. We'll mute and play a couple of songs here, and we'll be back in about I don't know, about 10 minutes or so.
Time to smoke.
10 minutes. I'll grab a drink of water. Good deal.
All right.
I'll grab another beer.
Hey, that's an idea.
Yeah.
for you, but
Oh, that really means a lot.
I guess Boone's still out getting his beer or whatever he was gonna do.
So this is I heard RZ6 is trying to call in for some fuckery.
Well, he's been trying to call in, but I don't know what's going on there. You know, Skype's
he needs to increase his nut width.
His nut dar.
His nut dar. Yeah. Who need the nut dar report tonight? Coming to you live from Full Metal Potato Weather Room, RZ6 with the nut dar report.
And then he doesn't call in, so that's
yeah. It's like RZ6. Where's the nut dar report?
I think Boone's on his way back now.
Yeah. I want to know is that a whoopee in the background? It looks like a whoopee.
I'm pretty sure it is.
Fucking a whoopee.
Boone's always posting about his whoopee, so it probably is. He's probably got a whole clothesline made out of whoopies. Hey, there's a business idea for somebody.
What's that?
A new clothesline made out of whoopies. your new whoopee shirt. Here you go.
Coming to you guys, the new clothesline whoopies from BetRS.com. I'm gonna run that by Dan. We can do a BetRS clothesline sponsored by Whoopee. The Whoopee. Yeah. The Whoopee comforter, the Whoopee suit, the Whoopee bed cover. Speaking of Whoopee, I'm actually sitting on I have mine on my bed. That's why I used to actually use my Whoopee as a goddamn sheet cover or comforter, I guess you could say. It's comfortable as fuck.
Well, we didn't have Whoopies when I was in, man. I think. Did
you guys have anything equivalent or?
Oh, we had a poncho and we had wet weather gear, and we had that 3-piece fucking sleeping bag.
Yeah, we do too. Well, actually, I have it, but the new guys coming in don't really have it. But I have like the it's actually 5 pieces now. Sleeping bag. It's like you have your extreme cold weather, cover. You have like 20 fucking. I mean, I had to use it in Korea like a bunch of fucking times because in Korea. It's cold as fuck, especially up near the border where North Korea is, South Korea. It gets cold as fuck up there, and I had to use my Whoopee and my 20 fucking layers of goddamn clothes.
Well, we got Boone back,
gentlemen.
What's up, Boone? Welcome back.
We're just
We're
having a Whoopee discussion.
Is that your Whoopee in the background?
No, it's a green screen, man.
Oh, it looks like a Whoopee for some reason. I don't know why.
I'm just messing around. It's not a green screen. It's just a piece of material I threw up in the backdrop just so,
It's a Whoopee screen.
Looks cool.
So I did it for you guys, man. I did it for you. I did it for show quality.
There we go. It better than what I have. I just have a wall.
Now I feel special.
Just try to do my best for you guys, man. I'm just trying to do my best for you.
There you go.
Now I feel special. Special.
Yeah.
You should.
Anybody got any crayons? I'm starting to feel like a Marine now. Anybody got any crayons?
Hey, what was the photo you guys did? You took my PC principal and you gave me a bicycle helmet and some crayons. What was that all about?
We gave you Cartman's retarded helmet and a box of crayons.
Oh, is that what that was?
Yeah.
Didn't know. I thought that was a bicycle helmet. I had no idea. I had no idea. So, what are you guys thinking about? You think we're going to rebuild the military now with this new administration?
I got a feeling we're going to do a lot more a lot more worthwhile things with the military. I don't know how much building they'll do, but I got a feeling they're not going to be held by restraints of political bullshit. You know?
Yeah, well, I don't think we're going to be held back by globalism whatsoever. I think we're gonna build a lot of stuff. I think we're gonna make union labor very happy, and that's a smart thing to do right now. Especially if we can parlay that into say, hey, why don't you loosen up on the that's how I would make the deal with the VA. I would make because you got to deal with the unions. I'd say, hey, listen, there's going to be a net effect here. The net effect is you're going to lose some jobs in the VA, but you're going to get some in shipbuilding, and stuff like that. And that's the way you've got to deal with them.
Well,
to be honest with you,
they need to hold.
And because when we talk about unions, it's crazy. We talk about like it's some entity that is out there that it's some kind of dragon. No, these are people's jobs, man. These are people's livelihoods. These are people that want to work, blue collar work, and I think that should be supported. Have they outpriced themselves out of a few jobs? Hell yeah. Should they police themselves? Hell yeah. But these are people. These are people that are trying to hold on to their jobs, and especially now with how many jobs have left America, they're going to be very. They're going to do that very strongly, and it makes sense. You would too. I would too. Because that's taking care of somebody's family. Yeah. So, let's take care of them. But also, again, I say the unions, they got to police themselves. Some stuff has gotten out of control. And I think the new administration should prime the pump with some new good union jobs and let us kind of, get the VA itself untethered, per se.
Well, I'm more on the veteran side of things. Because active military, I haven't been in a long time, so it's hard to put myself in that situation. But I've been a veteran for a long time, so on that
right.
side of things, what I look at, what I think the administration needs to work towards is veteran health care with VA or privatized, however they go about it, and veteran jobs, because there are so many jobs out there that just don't want the headache of having a veteran work for them, or they think they're.
You're right. There's when it comes to hiring in America, I think there's a lot of job discrimination against veterans. There's no doubt about that to me.
And we also have veterans that come out of the service and they get in trouble, they have problems, and now they're a veteran and they have a felony on the record, so they have to deal with that also, and I think there needs to be some kind of structure to help them too, and
yeah, I would make that change. And the other thing that could stem a lot of these things is and I made this Lindsey Graham sits on a few different committees, and he asked me, hey Boone, what would you do what's the one thing that you would do that could make a big change right now that's real simple? And I said, stop giving guys their DD-214 at their unit. Make them pick up their DD. If they're a combat veteran, they pick up their DD-214 from the vet center in their area. And if they're a non-combat veteran, they pick up their DD-214 from the VA. That way there's a nice handoff, a pass-off to get guys checked in with services. Otherwise, they hit their hometown and they got no idea where to go for services. They have no handoff, and that's when things start getting funky. At least if they could pick up their DD-214 from the vet center, they could get an eye-to-eye with that vet center team leader, and the guy could say, "Okay, you're here to pick up your DD-214. That's great, but first I got a 2-hour briefing for you to tell you where services locally are and where you can get jobs, and how you, if you end up having addiction issues, if you have medical issues, if you end up whatever, family issues, divorce, legal, whatever. This is where you get it. This is how you handle that stuff, because it's going to happen. Okay, it's a fact. It's going to happen. Guys are going to need jobs. Guys are going to get medical care. Guys are going to want to get in college, don't know how to do it. Guys are going to have problems with their families and their marriages. It's going to happen. So why not have that warm handoff instead of saying, hey, you're done. Here's your DD-14. Get the fuck out of here. And wherever your hometown is, rock with it. Say, hey, where's your hometown? Oh, my hometown's in Sioux City, Iowa. Okay, you're going to be at the Sioux City, Iowa VA Vet Center on Thursday the 19th, and that's where you're getting the last part of your your discharge. I think that makes a lot of sense. I think it would help a lot of people. Because you know how it goes when you're clearing and you're trying to get out, you're just trying to clear. You just want to get the hell out of there, get your D214 and done. You're not even thinking of anything. You know, once you clear CIF, boom, I'm in a truck, I'm gone. But to where? To where? And that's the issue. And so let's get a stutter step in there and get guys to be able to get tied in with the local veterans in their hometown. And then
well, then
I think we'd have a lot less issues just by doing that.
You still have the issue of rural veterans too. Like me, I live in nowhere, you know. And when
I've been there.
When you come here, we have a VA rep that is in town once a week, maybe twice a week,
right?
And he travels to several different counties. About 4 or 5 counties, and goes to, you know, every VA office he has, you know, so they're really understaffed as far as VA help in that aspect. And
do you have a vet center in your town?
I don't know of any vet center in my town, and every town
usually
there's
there's a vet center in most major cities in America. And the vet center, when guys, everybody watching, listening right now, the vet center, if you're a combat veteran, you get hemmed up in any way, homelessness, drug addiction, any type of counseling, need a job. The vet center has the hookup, or at least can point you in the right direction for resources. And they're all veterans. Everybody working at the vet center is a combat veteran. And so that's a good thing, and you should feel comfortable with that. I think they're usually good people. I will tell you the one caveat: make sure you talk to a team leader. Don't just talk to the intern sitting at the desk, because sometimes they might be having a bad day too and go, fuck, I don't know. So make sure you talk to a team leader. I find that's the best way guys are successful when they need local resources fast, and they're not they're the government resources. They're not the orgs and things like that. That would be a different venue, but they still have access and purview on that stuff. So it's a good place to go. So I always encourage people to check in with the vet center and find out who's there and now, make friends.
Now they only deal with combat veterans, not disabled.
The vet center is solely for combat veterans.
Okay. Well, you know, a lot of us don't have the rifle. You know, I'm tracking, but for those that don't, then you go to the VA, and the VA they always have a coordinator there, and you can get checked in and get the same stuff. For the combat veterans, I always encourage them to go to the vet center and work it from that angle first. For everybody else, I say go to the VA, work it from that angle first, and it's really the fastest way to get things done for you. I mean, and at my local vet center here, I can get guys off the street and in a shelter, you know, within 24 hours. Well, me too. I got a barn. Got
a barn.
You know, I live in.
You know, the other thing, you know, this is an interesting thing. I want to bring this up because I haven't been bringing this up, and I want to get some more exposure on it. Heroin addiction. Okay, I have gotten more requests for help and gotten more attention. Or gotten more feedback from people who are having issues with heroin addictions in our community over the last couple of months, more than I have over the last few years. And so I'm starting to see an increase on the heroin usage, and I think a lot of that comes from, one, they cut guys off cold turkey from their pain meds. 2, they didn't have access to marijuana. 3, they made a mistake. They fucked up, and they started using heroin, and that becomes the escape, and that usually leads immediately or not soon after to homelessness. It just happens. I'm seeing it over and over again, even in my little town, more than I have seen it. So I want to bring the attention. I hope everybody's paying attention to this. If you are having an issue with heroin, do not let it continue. It only gets worse. I promise you. It only gets worse. Reach out for help now. Get it stopped. And if you're already down that road, get help. If you're not down that road, do not go down that road. It's very hard. It's very hard. I mean, I've gotten calls from guys like, hey, my buddy's in this bathroom over here at this taco joint. He just OD'd. He's your problem. And then I got to deal with that stuff. guys saying, "Hey, can you help me out? I'm homeless." Blah 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 blah. And I ask them right away, "Okay, what are your addictions?" And a lot of them are very honest with me. Well, I'm on Suboxone right now. I'm trying to kick heroin. Most of the guys on Suboxone are doing heroin and Suboxone at the same time, and they're just playing the game. And I got to tell you guys, man, if you're not down that road, don't go down that road. It's not going to get better. And if you're down that road, get help sooner than later. It's just not going to get good for you. It's not going to get better.
Well, I'm going to tell you now that the heroin addiction is coming from the pain meds, because the VA will shove them pain meds down your throat, shove them down your throat. Now,
once you get that thing going for opiates, it's a fucking motherfucker, man. It is a motherfucker. I've dealt with it. I know it very intimately. I'll give you an example. My wife this last week, she had to have a minor surgery to replace some cartilage in her nose, and they took cartilage from her ear. And the doctor gave her Norco for the first 4 days that she was home from this surgery. And the first thing I did, I got them filled. I gave them to her, and I said, "Go hide these." And she's like, "Why?" I said, "I don't take chances. I don't take chances. I don't want to know they're here. I don't want to see them. It's just, to me, it's a demon I dealt with and I killed, and I don't want it back in my life. So, just hide these, because I just don't even want to know they exist." And that's the way I deal with it. I put it behind me. It's over, and I don't even want to know it exists anymore.
I've got to where I will not let them give me anything over hydrocodone. Period. I need something. I can't. I'm in a state where I can't do anything about pain.
I know, brother, and it's wrong, man. It's wrong, dude. That my heart goes out to you. I'm very empathetic to your plight, because if I was in the same situation, who knows, man? And it's who knows, And so we all need to be a little bit humble about how we've been blessed, and I just want to help other people have the same thing.
What people need to understand about pain medication is it does not take the pain away. All it does is give you the energy to push through the pain. That's all it does.
Exactly.
And no matter how much they give you, you're only going to start building a higher and higher tolerance and be able to push harder. So what's the point in using it to control the pain? Use your mind to control the pain. You use a little bit of pain medicine to get a little bit of energy if you need it, but beyond that, I will not take a pain pill. And I learned that because
pain hurts, and anybody can take the worst pain for a little bit. Anybody can take the worst pain. The question comes down to for how long. Everybody's got a breaking point. I know that, and it's one of those things we have to address. And did you know, this is a fact, back to cannabis. I hate to keep going back to cannabis. I don't mean to be, that guy. But did you know that the United States government has the patent on using cannabis for detox of opiates? I mean, they already did the science on it. This is like from the 40s, man, or before. So they have the patent on that. They know that cannabis works to detox and help people get and helps stop opiate addiction. But cannabis helps stop opiate addiction. It's a fact. It's patented.
Huh? How are they going to sell you Suboxone if you're using weed?
It's a good point. Right. And Sheldon Adelson runs all the damn what you call it? Where they go to get this? What's Suboxone? What's the other?
The methadone.
What's it called?
Methadone.
Yeah, the methadone clinics. He runs all the methadone clinics. He owns them. And so, and maybe that started out as a benevolent venture, but there's a better way to do things now. And I have no problem. We should be able to move past that. There's just other ways to do things. And anybody who's ever been on methadone, I've been on methadone. Methadone was the hardest thing I ever kicked. Methadone's the only thing I ever took that literally, if I missed a dose in 5 minutes, I was dope sick. 5-10 minutes. I'm like, this sucks. I'm sweating. The histrionic thoughts and the OCD and the sick to my stomach. Methadone is a hard kick, man. It's a real hard kick.
I've never seen the point in taking something stronger to get rid of an addiction to something that's weaker. It doesn't. It's not logical to me. here, you're addicted to hydrocodone, so let's give you the strongest fucking dope out there, and then we'll lower you from that. That doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
Well, people are dealing with their pain issues, and once you get up on the pain meds, the next move for your doctor is to go to psych meds. It just is. And I got to go back to my original issue. What is causing the pain, and why don't we solve that issue so all these other issues don't exist? And if it's a bad shoulder, let's get that fucking shoulder fixed. Let's get it rehab. What's making me sick about the whole thing is when you're a warfighter and you get off active duty, you are in the best shape of anybody you know. Okay? You have the ability to rehab better than anybody you know, okay, that is a civilian. But yet you go to the VA and it's nothing but convalescent care. Go to the VA and say, where's the pharmacy? Everybody knows where the goddamn pharmacy is. Go to the VA and say, where's the gym? And everybody's like, the gym? I don't know where the fucking gym is. Okay. Where do I go to rehab? Yeah. Oh, the rehab center. You mean drug rehab center? No, I mean physical rehab center. Nobody knows where it is, but everybody knows where the pharmacy is. Okay. Exactly. They treat us with convalescent care when we get into a VA system. And at worst, we're amateur athletes. I mean, if you're passing a PT test, if you're out there humping a ruck, you're in good shape. Even if you're missing body parts, you should be able to rehab pretty quickly. But once you start getting on all the dope, it starts affecting this thing up here, which starts affecting everything else. And so why not just deal with the injury and keep guys off dope as much as possible? I think it has to be paramount to what we're doing with the VA system.
Well, I come out of the service at 60%, and I was probably in better health than anybody I knew at that time. And I was 60% disabled through the VA. So, I mean, there is no reason that the issues that anybody has when they come out of the service can't be fixed. I understand if
they take too long, man. They take too long. I mean, and it happened even in the hospital. When I was at Walter Reed for 2 years, man. I can't tell you how many weeks I did nothing except maybe have one 15-minute appointment. And you know who I had the one 15-minute appointment with? The doctor that was giving me the drugs for the next week. That was it. And there were other times. I waited several months to have my first surgery. Two of the surgeries I had at Walter Reed I thought were pretty good. No, they weren't so great. I had to have them redone. Meanwhile, they're still causing me problems. And I'm thinking, when you have something fixed surgically and all of a sudden it's still a problem, you get pretty depressed about that, and because you want to do other stuff. I still got to have another surgery on this shoulder next year and fix this hernia. That's why I'm always, when I'm on air and even talking here. But those are all both service connected. I just have been pushing it off and pushing it off and pushing it off. I can't push it off anymore because I can't work out, and I got to work out. It affects me mentally. That's how I keep my depression issues down with exercise, and so I got to get it fixed. So if I wasn't getting this shoulder fixed and I wouldn't be exercising, then my depression would increase and they'd be putting me on psych meds. So what do I got to do? I got to fix the goddamn shoulder. It's that simple. Yeah,
well, if you can get VA to do it.
No. Luckily, I'm blessed enough. I was medically retired, so I have my TRICARE. I don't even go to the VA for anything except like a check. I just check in once every 6 months or so, let them know what's going on out in town.
Well, you lucked out there. Well, you didn't.
Yeah, truly.
You didn't, but you did.
Well, I got to deal with the VA coming up soon, so it should be a little interesting.
There's a lot of great people that work for the VA, but they're just overtaxed. They can't. Yeah, but they're just overtaxed.
The people that are doing something at the VA are the only ones doing something, and the other people, the doctors, I swear to you, my doctor in this last year has been on vacation 4 times that I can count.
Jesus.
4 times that I know of. She's been on vacation. Who goes on vacation 4 times? I ain't been on vacation in fucking 10 years.
What's a vacation?
But this motherfucker's going on vacation every fucking 4 months, And
right.
I mean, who goes on vacation that much? Honestly.
I agree.
And why are the taxpayers paying for them to go on vacation that much? is the big stuff.
I don't know if that happened with that guy, but yeah, it's a situation that's got to be fixed. Guys, I got about 10 minutes. I got to roll out of here. So if you got something you want to throw at me, man, I'm game.
Well, what do you got coming up this summer?
Anything fun?
This winter.
Wow, man. Well, and let me see if I can get this all right. In January, I'm doing the presidential inaugural ball in D.C., and I get to go to the inauguration. I'm pretty excited about that. And being the MC at the inaugural ball, I think is pretty awesome. The Joint Chiefs are supposed to be there. You know, good people are going to be there, and I want to do the Spartan Pledge with them. So I'll probably sneak in that opportunity one way or another, even if I'm not allowed to. But anyway, so we got that coming up in January. January also got the Sundance Film Festival, going out there with a couple other guys that haven't been released yet who's going out there. But we're going to do this great thing called Bridging the Gap, talking to the folks out there about warfighters who are getting past their issues and becoming successful in different areas and how they're doing that. So we got Sundance there, and then we get into also got the Oscar after parties. I got booked to MC that. It's going to be pretty exciting. In April, we've got between 800 and 2,000 motorcycles coming to Reno, Nevada, with the Live to Tell folks, and we're going to hopefully get these 2,000 guys also to take the Spartan Pledge, and it's to raise awareness to the suicide issue that we have in our community.
Yes.
So we've got huge things coming up next year, whether it's the inauguration, the Oscars, Sundance, motorcycle rides, big deal. I'm releasing my book here in the next couple of weeks, codenamed Voodoo. That's coming out. That's being turned into a miniseries. The miniseries, we're working on the script right now, and that script, I don't know how fast that's going to be done, but working on the script, and hopefully you'll see that. We'll either be filming it or we'll be post-production in 2018. So we're looking forward to it.
Yeah, I look forward. I mean, that sounds like a really good, interesting thing, man. Because I myself am trying to go to Sundance Film Festival 2018. We're making a short film. It's in development right now, but it's about 22 a day.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to submit that and show people what it's actually, what it is kind of like a reality. Someone goes to war, comes back, and then it shows the after effects of being in that kind of situation.
Mm-hmm. I think that's good. Anything we can do to bring awareness to that's fantastic.
Of course.
Make sure you stay in touch with me. Get in touch with me if there's any introductions I can help you with. I have no problem doing that, man. I'm an open book. I play traffic cop most of my day. You go here, talk to this guy. You go here, talk to this guy.
Yeah, if same for you, man. If you need help with that voodoo short you're trying to do, let me know. I'm all ears. I'm trying to get into the film industry, so whatever I can do to help out, I'm always there.
I'll tell you what happened with this. This is kind of cool, man. I think you're going to dig this. Just let me tell this quick story. First of all, they were starting to write this film about the tour and about different things, about my book, basically, turn the book into a film. And I was kind of adamant with the guys who were doing the writing and on this team that are doing the project. I said, you know what? I'm kind of tired of, these, not tired, but I don't want to be a one-man show for a movie because I wasn't a one-man show. I had a team, my team is very important. I want to bring my team in on this.
Exactly.
And so I started talking to the producer and I said, listen, instead of just having it about Iraq, bring the team in, get their perspective, not just what happened in country, but also when we came home and we were split apart. And so we're bringing that in. I don't want to talk too much more about it because we've got some very interesting twists into it that are not going to be able to be duplicated, but it's going to be fantastic. It's going to be a short mini series, mainstream, all that stuff, all good stuff.
Is it,
But I didn't want to leave the team out of it, and I'm going to talk to guys out there. You guys out there doing these projects about you being a stud out there in Iraq and Afghanistan. Don't forget about your team. So I brought the team involved. And I told all the guys, all the producers and everything, I said, listen, my team's got to get paid on this thing. They got to get paid. Advisor roles, movie roles, whatever, but they got to get paid. And so I encourage other guys to do that. When you come home, don't forget about your team. You got to take care of your people that took care of you. And it doesn't end when you're in country. We got to bring that ethos into this world and live by it. It's that important. And I don't think we should, we got to be a little bit humble, and there's been such fantastic stories out there. If you look at, Lone Survivor, American Sniper, these are great stories from great books. I want to see more stories about the team. And,
exactly.
And they did that. They did that in Lone Survivor, and I thought that was fantastic. I want to see more. I want to see more and more and more and more and more and more and more. As much as we can make. I want to produce it. I want to see guys working together, because America has to see those examples if we want them to change.
It kind of reminds me of this series. I don't know if you've seen this series, Band of Brothers of the Pacific.
Yeah,
it kind of reminds me of that. It's like, a team effort. They were a team in the middle of Battle of the Bulge or in Okinawa. And they worked together to either take out the Japanese or take out the Nazis.
We worked together. We worked as a team, and I just would like to see. We haven't had enough movies, enough video, enough media to tell our story.
Exactly.
In this war, and these wars, we haven't had enough, and I know why that is. You know why it is too.
Yeah.
But we need to push to make more, and when we do that, let's make sure the whole team is represented. I think that what they did with Lone Survivor, and they showed so much respect for each of the guys in the team. I thought that was very honorable. I think that's the way it should happen. I want to see more of that. I want to see more of that, more of that.
Yeah, that's really good stuff, man. I do look forward to seeing some of your work, man. That's something that I want to do, because I want to make it into a same thing, kind of like I want to make like films about the war, and I actually want to make a series myself, kind of like Band of Brothers, more like a modern day.
Where do you live?
Oh, well, I'm going to be living in Virginia Beach in about 3 more months from now, back home where I'm from.
When are you moving to LA?
LA?
Yeah.
Not for. Are you in LA or?
I live in Reno, but I'm in LA quite a lot.
I really don't know, because right now we're kind of like I'm on kind of the walk phase or the crawl phase of filming, because I'm in film school as well, so I'm kind of
good. I never did that. I think
I'm in film school. I'll be out in 2018 and I'm really I'm planning it now with my friends, and I do want help from friends and stuff like that to make this 22 a day wearing a short film, because I really think this film will bring out the actual, because a lot of people don't understand, civilians too don't understand like what 22 a day is. They think, oh, it's just a number, but hearing that word 22 a day or number, that's a lot of veterans. It really is.
Yeah, it's a lot of people. It's a lot of good people.
It is, and I've lost a couple of friends to that, from the war.
There's one more thing.
Sorry for your loss, brother. But yeah, get done with film school. Get your ass out to LA, because that's and join VFTLA, Veterans of Film and Television Los Angeles. They're doing great stuff, and I think they're good people. I think they've got a lot of. You got to work your way in there. I mean, it's still work. It's no freebies. You don't show up and go, "Hey, I'm a veteran. I'm part of VFT. Give me a fucking job." It doesn't work that way. You still got to make it.
Yeah, of course.
But you get connected. Again, you got to stay connected. We have to coalesce as a community. And so if you're going to move out to LA, be in the film business, be around other veterans, and that's the other thing I told these producers. I said, we are going to hire maximum amount of veterans to do this show. And they're okay for that. That's going in my contract. So it's just how I see it. And, you got to take care of the people, take care of you. And I believe in this community. And I think this would be a good expose to show people what the warfighter community can do in the mainstream media.
And if you need, like I said, if you need help with anything, with anything, I'm actually going to add you probably tonight on Facebook or social media.
Cool.
Yeah, I'll definitely hook you up or hook you up, and we'll definitely get connections.
Yeah, not a problem, man. Whatever you need, if I can point you in the right direction, get your phone number, and say, hey, this is so and so. Yeah, no problem. I'll do it. I do it all the time. I mean, so many times a day, I probably do it. Also, I want to tell everybody the show is back. Tipping Point with Boone Cutler is back next month in January. We're off hiatus, and we'll be 3 hours on Saturday. We're probably going to go, instead of 9 to noon Pacific, we're going to go Pacific to 3, noon to 3. 1500 will end the show, and I'm pretty excited about that. The Fox affiliate here locally just built a new studio. They're building it now. That's why I'm not in there. And they'll be done, and then we'll start spinning up the show again and get Tipping Point out there to people. And I appreciate all the listeners over the years. We've been on air here for 4 years, maybe better. And the listenership has been great locally here in Reno. It's been great across the country. And, the community has really made that show very successful, and I'm just very thankful. I want to tell everybody that.
Well, Boone,
outstanding.
We're really thankful for you supporting us peons, us little people.
Nah.
a lot of people, they move on up and they don't ever look back and reach that hand out,
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
we appreciate you coming on the show and being there for us, and
It's my honor, brother. It's my honor, really. I mean, you got to be who you say you are, and I say, ethos before ego. And if I'm not that, then what am I? So I believe in that. That's what I live by, and that's not to tout me at all. That's just saying who I am. And if that's something that appeals to other people, try doing it. It's a good thing.
Well,
Hell yeah, brother.
You lead from the front, and we're all following you, Boone. So.
Hey, if you don't lead from the front, you got to smell other people's farts, and I'm not into that. And with that, I got to go, gentlemen. God bless you. Have a wonderful night. You got a great show. I'll be looking for the playback.
All right, brother.
Thanks for coming on, Boone.
All the way, gentlemen. All the way. Out here.
All right.
All right. That was pretty good, successful show there.
We have with Boone there. So anything else to add there, Blood?
No, I mean, I think it was. I mean, I was listening the whole time because I was also at the same time messaging my guys back home. We're having a big meeting come December, Christmas. But yeah, I mean, it was a good show. I really enjoyed the topics and everything, and enjoyed hearing about the VFL LA bet thing. I looked that up now because that sounds pretty interesting, actually. Other than that, yeah, I think it was a really good show. I really thought, it was awesome to have Boone on here.
Definitely. It's always good to get. It's always good to have Boone on. That's the second show we've had with him, and
exactly, yeah.
He's always.
I think the last show with him I wasn't on actually. I don't know where I was. Was it when I was in Korea or was it? I was somewhere. I can't remember where I was.
I believe you were still in Korea.
Yeah, because I remember I was I was in the field. That's where I was. I was in the field, and remember you guys mentioned it. I was like, no, I can't make it on.
But
I'm gonna be in Goop.
I think we're gonna end on that note. Anything else to add there?
No. I hope everybody has a great week and just keep doing your thing.
Well, I got a couple of things to add. Make sure you follow the VA Exposed. We have a page, the VA Exposed, where we will take your stories, your horror stories or your good stories about the VA, and we will simply copy and paste them to the page. You message them to the page, and we will share them with the world. And the reason is to expose the VA for good or bad. And if you're a gamer, as always, follow Battlefield POG. That's Battlefield POG. And we have great gaming videos almost on a daily basis. Almost on a daily basis. We have good.
I need to get on Battlefield with you guys. I've been really slacking lately because I've been busy clearing. I've not in school. I haven't had time to play PS4 in a long time.
Well, you better get on the ball. But
I will. I will.
That's been Full Metal Potato tonight. And make sure you follow Full Metal Potato page, and we will. Make sure you go to our Grunt Style link and pick up a shirt and help support us by picking up a shirt.
Yeah.
And
shirts.
And
all right, guys.
One day we'll make Blood make us a new intro and outro song, but for now we're still using the old Buckeyes one. And